Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about how do billionaires avoid paying taxes. So I think we've all heard about it for really years now, and everyone says, oh, billionaires just don't pay taxes. And is that true? And if so, why? So first off, it is generally true that as a percentage of their net worth, billionaires pay less than normal people like us. In a study conducted recently, they found out from 2013 to 2018, the top 26 richest people in the world paid under 5% in taxes. So, of course, that's less than normal. And there are two main reasons I would say that this is the case. The first is the highest tax rate in the United States is your income tax rate. So your income is what you get paid for working. Of course, I mean, we all know that. However, a billionaire makes almost all of their money not from working, but from their assets or their investments growing. So for example, let's say you work and you make $100,000, you will pay a much higher tax rate than if you have a business that grew $100,000 over the course of that year. And another thing about it is with your income, you have to pay taxes every single year. However, with your assets and your investments, a lot of the time the growth has not been realized yet. And what this means is that while yes, technically, if you sold it today versus if you sold it a year ago, you'd get $100,000 extra dollars, but you haven't actually sold it yet, so that gain is just kind of up in the air. It's not completely real yet. Well, like, it is real, but it's not. It hasn't actually taken place. And the way taxes work is they typically only tax things that have actually occurred. Because then if the same company, let's say it goes up $100,000 in value throughout the year, and then the next year it goes back down $100,000, you won't claim the profit in one year or the loss in the next. You just won't do anything with it. And when you're thinking about billionaires, these people make 99% of their money through their assets growing. They're not making $1 billion a year of income. That's just not the case. Instead, their assets are growing. So really, that's the number one reason why billionaires don't pay that much taxes. And honestly, I don't know a workaround. I mean, potentially the 1% tax on people whose net worth is over $1 billion, but there are so many problems with that. Like, first off, how do you know that they're worth $1 billion? Like, they're billionaires, so they can move their money all over the world. I don't know how you can reliably track that. Another thing is what if they have $999 million? Like, if they're barely on the cutoff, are you gonna like investigate them or not? I mean, another big problem with that is what is the true value of their assets? So, while technically it might be worth, let's say, $1 billion, however, they might say it's only worth $500 million because they bought it for $500 million and they haven't sold it yet. So, who is there to actually prove that it's worth $1 billion? Because we simply don't know if it is or not if they haven't sold it yet. Especially if this is in private companies. Like, let's say if you own the Los Angeles Lakers. Who knows how much money that's worth? It could be anywhere from like $3 to $6 billion. Like, we just don't know because it's a one-of-a-kind asset and it's privately owned, so there aren't just shares out there. And even if there are shares out there, if you're a billionaire and you have $1 billion of stock in a company, you can't just sell that because it would wreck the market for that stock. So there are certain procedures that they would have to go through themselves. And the second major thing I would say why billionaires get out of paying taxes is that they simply are more powerful than anyone else and can heavily impact politics. So when you can just throw $10 million to politicians and say, hey, I'd really like to pay less taxes, that's going to help you out, because it's just simply a fact that several politicians in the country are very corrupt, and if you pay them some money or you give them some campaign donations or whatever, there's ways to work around it. They will vote to help you out so that you keep on giving them money in the future. So since the billionaires have since they have so much money, they can really impact the tax code. And even further, if the tax code is set to tax them, they have enough money to hire enough accountants and lawyers to find loopholes and get around the tax code. Because if you think about it, it might sound simple to make a tax code that gets everything. However, you have to write a tax code that accounts for literally every possible situation. So there are loopholes. And if there is one, they'll find it and they will exploit it. And then the final reason how they get out of paying taxes is since they have so much stuff out there, they can simply deduct their expenses within their companies or their losses. So let's say Amazon, for example. Let's say they had $1 billion of profit in 1 year. Okay, so they made $1 billion. They will not simply pay out the $1 billion through dividends and pay it to all of the shareholders. Instead, they will take most of it and they will build new buildings, they'll do research and development, and they'll spend it all within the company. And since the money is spent on the company, it's an expense and it's no longer profit. So then the $1 billion profit, they spend $1 billion improving the company, and then there's nothing left to tax. So I hope this video has been fairly helpful, a little informative. If you're ever curious about why billionaires don't pay that high of a tax rate, however, one thing to be aware of is even though billionaires don't pay a very high tax rate, the money they do pay is a lot. So even though the top 26 billionaires from 2013 to 2018 only paid about 5% taxes, they did pay about $25 billion of taxes. So 5% is low, but $25 billion is a lot of money. So now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the video, the joke of the day. Joke of the day, joke of the day, boop, boop, joke of the day. Have you ever wondered how the Form 1040 got its name? It's simple. For every $50 you earn, you get 10 and they get 40. So thanks for watching my video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and leaving a comment about the video or an idea for a future video. And bye.